Hi, so now we're going to get a little bit more spinal rotation, kind of warm up, and then we're actually going to go into a little more advanced side plank, utilizing that spine rotation as well. So first thing, you're going to just find a little spot on the floor. You're going to get on all fours. You're going to have your head have your spine go straight, and you're going to I'm going to start with my right hand. Right hand's just going to place right behind your neck. Notice where my elbow's down. So what I'm going to start with first is I'm going to take a deep breath in, and then as I rotate out to my right, I breathe out and look towards the ceiling. A couple things to watch for is your hips. We don't want you to move your hips around while this is going on, so try to keep those in place. Just letting your spine do its job of rotating. So in, and then out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Two more. In, out. One more. In, and out. You should start to notice that your spine starting to just slowly open up along the way. If you keep doing that, you will get a little bit more rotation in your spine as well. So we got two sides, so let's work our other. So same deal, find a comfortable spot. Get your left hand in this case, position behind your neck. Deep breath in, and out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Last one, in and out. Good. All right, now that we started to get your spine warmed up, we're gonna go ahead and set yourself up onto a side plank. Again, a couple quick reminders: make sure your elbow is underneath your shoulder. Do not want this out away from your body, too far underneath this in any other direction. Try to use your bones to help hold your body up. As far as foot positioning goes, there are a couple different ways, whatever is gonna feel best for yourself. Some people go straight on top, some go in front. You can have it where your bottom leg is bent. The idea is you will still want a straight line from your knee to the shoulder, whatever position you decide to do. And you're gonna hold your core and your lats nice and tight with your glutes. You wanna try to avoid anything where your butt's sticking out backwards along the way. So you're home, spend the time to really work on kind of fine tuning your technique and using your muscles to get your body as nice and straight as possible. So once you're set up, you're gonna lift, and I'm gonna have my right arm in this case up towards the ceiling when we do come up. So when you're ready, up. So in position. Now from here, a couple advanced moves. I'm gonna be able to keep this all straight as I rotate in and then rotate out. There's one, let's do 5. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, and out. Now, again, that's pretty easy for you. Add another 5 reps onto that, or 5 after that to keep that going. For the really advanced challenging one, you could add like a small weight in your hand, nothing like 40 pounds swinging that, but it'd be like 5 pounds. Folding 5 pounds out in front of you for a long time actually does quite a bit. So challenging yourself just with additional reps, and then if you want to add that little extra bit, you can do that as well. So same deal on the other side. Again, make sure my body's in good alignment first before I start. Again, whatever you feel you would like to today, set up, and once you're ready, you're up. Glutes are fired, core is good, and then you rotate in underneath you and out. There's 1, now 2, 3, 4, 5. And go from there. So some side plank rotations. All right, first we're gonna start you off with a little bit of shoulder rotation to get those kind of working, since you're gonna be utilizing the bow with that. So again, whatever weapon or item you have in your hand, we're gonna let those just kind of drift towards the ends. And from here, go ahead and just let that lift up and drift behind your back. And again, going only as far as your shoulders can take you. So if you have an impediment of some kind, work with whatever best you got up here is all you got. If you're able to get that to all the way back and around to over. If you feel you gotta kind of crunch your arms, some of you got really long arms, so you may actually bend them a little bit more. Nice straight back. We can even roll this as well. So same position, this comes up, so I'm gonna lift my right hand up. Kind of swing it behind my head, lift my left up, come back. So up, do 5 of those, so 3 more. There's 2. 3. 4. Same thing, but we're gonna go the other direction. So let your left hand come up, right hand's down, and then lift right arm up. And that circles around. 2, 3, 4, 1 more. 5. All right, I'm gonna continue with that. So go ahead and grab this, set it up however you need to, but we're gonna have your left hand facing away from your body, right hand facing towards your body. And from here, what you can do is pull upwards. You have a little stretch in that shoulder, as well as do the reverse, is pull down. So up, down, up, 1 more down, down. Good. Same deal. Switch the other way, so right hand's now facing out, left hand is now towards me, pulling up, down, up, keeping this close to your body, down, and up, 1 more down, down. If you're pretty flexible, see how close you can get your hands together. That'll make it a little bit more challenging. But for everybody else out there, again, however wide you need to have your hands, just adjust it as need be. All right, next thing we're gonna work on is a little bit of a balance exercise. So from here, if you look, toes are forward, back is straight. So I'm just gonna kind of cut the bow into 3s. And from here, I'm gonna just shift my weight to my left leg a little bit and allow the bow to go out. Same time, I'm gonna take my right leg, going behind me, trying to keep my hip facing down, and then coming back up to your starting position. Shifting to the other leg, so weight's now carried in my right a little bit more. I'm trying to line myself up to be here. Don't let this leg be out, because otherwise you're just gonna fall right over. So here, bow is going, the leg's going, breathing out, extend. It's gonna be pretty challenging. Right now, these mats make it even more challenging, so hopefully at home, hard floor is actually gonna get a lot easier. A little side shot of that. And back in. Again, you're gonna go to what level you feel comfortable with. So if today is here, that's where you're at. You can make it all the way out there. you're good to go. Again, trying to keep those hips down. Yeah, because this is really easy to do something that looks like this. So use this bow as kind of a leveler. Ooh. So if I do this, bow just kind of rolls down. So that's a good marker to check. Again, don't have to do too many, and it really kind of check your balance. We like to call this a hicho, so a good one leg balance exercise. The next one is going to be a little more challenging, so we're going to progressively work it up. So we're going to get through lunges with the joke. So you're going to step out, again, trying to get your big toes in alignment. If you have the convenience of a seam on the floor, you can put one there, one right there. I'm just going to hold this above my head, and we're going to drop down. We'll do 5 on this left leg right now. So 2, driving through the glutes, 3, 4, and 5. Back, switch it, so now your right foot's behind you, left foot's in front, holding it up, shoulders back and down, knee comes down. There's your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Again, add extra reps on there as you feel more comfortable. Strongly encourage that. Your legs are going to get much, much stronger as you're working through this. For a more advanced setup on this, I'm going to hold the Joe in front of me. I'm going to take the same split stance that we were just working on. I'm going to hold it, boom, right from here. And I'm going to rotate to my left, keeping my back upright. Ooh, engaging those glutes. It's really easy to cheat. See, that's just my arms rotated. Now I want your spine to rotate and come back into your initial position. And so we're going to do 5 outwards rotations, and then we're going to switch feet and do the same on the other side. So starting from the beginning, going out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, switching out. Right leg back, left leg forwards, holding that. Again, make sure you're wide enough and you're not getting narrow, because that makes it really hard to adjust with this rotation here. So down, back is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so legs should be starting to warm up a little bit more. And again, always want to challenge yourself, add another rep, add an extra one, so you can progress through there and eventually get to where you'll be surprised how far you can get with how many you can push yourself. And you're going to see some major differences as you keep doing these with your legs.
Hey everyone, let's just start with a gentle warm-up before we get into more difficult exercises. So let's just warm up your body, just bring those knees in, just try and get some blood moving around that body before you start taking any deeper squats. So I always like to warm up a little before I start exercising. The older you get, the more you need to do this. So just things like this, bring those knees in, just gently, move those hips a little. The warmer you are before you start doing some heavier exercises, the better. And the older you are, the more you need to do this. And just kick those heels up. Warm up the hamstrings and the glutes a little. And easy squats, just tiny right now. Just get some blood into those muscles. Make sure you're squeezing those glutes. As you find you're feeling warmer, you can go lower. Make sure your knees are going out over your toes. Let's not have any of this, because that's not good. Here, and shoulders, just rotate your shoulders around a little. And you can rock side to side as you're doing that. Arms across in front. And rotate. Warm up as much as you can before you start doing anything more strenuous, which we will get to in just a minute. And arms up and down. There, that should do it. Just always warm up like that before you start really strenuous exercises. So now we're going to get on to some of those more challenging things.
Hi, so in this warm up, what we're gonna do is just try to stretch out and kind of relax your adductor muscles. So we're gonna start with you just on your knee positioning. I'm gonna put my right foot out and you want your toes to line up with your knee. So not too far forward or too far back. Again, reach out as far as you can keep this foot flat. So from here, I'm gonna just allow my hands to come down to support my upper body. And in this case, my left leg is gonna be kind of my own difficulty gauge. So if I turned it in, it's a lot lighter. As it turns out, it gets a bit tighter. So whatever you feel you're up to, kind of play with that and just kind of work on your stretching level. If you're super flexible, like I know a few of our students are, you can go on a full-on split. You guys are fine, but just kind of use this opportunity to just warm up a little bit more. For the rest of us, as we're getting through this, we're going to stretch. So once I'm in position, we're going to do about 10 full rocks. Again, don't speed through this. Breathe. So take a deep breath in and then push back. And forward in, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. And you may feel yourself starting to loosen up a little bit, so you can just move that leg out a little bit more. Again, whatever you feel is going to be best for you, and then continue on. Pushing out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Let's just do one more. In and out. Good. Rock it forward. Bring that in. Set it up again. So make sure you're upright. Foot's out. Flat. Hands are down. Again, one side might be tighter than the other. So again, you're gonna have to play with it and see what you feel like today. And then once you're ready, go ahead, take that deep breath in as you rock forward and then push back. Here's your first one. Back. Forwards, back. Forwards and back. Again, forwards, back. Keep it going. Forwards, back. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And relax from there. Another way we can kind of stretch this out is kind of like this, I refer to as like a froggy stretch. So you're gonna let your knees just kind of slide out and come down your forearms. And again, same thing, the more my feet are in, the easier it is on my hips. A little wider, tighter this already starts to feel. And just taking a deep breath in and then just push out. And forwards and back. And you may just want to, sometimes not even just rock at all, just kind of sit here and just breathe to try to see if you can just relax a little around there. And you can do this while you're at home. You can watch TV, you know, put your phone down and kind of click play as you're still watching us, and just kind of relax. Move your hips around a little bit. Maybe add the little rocks back and forth. Tight today. And then once you feel like I've gotten a little bit more loose. Then just allow yourself to kind of just rock out of that. And just be ready for the next one.
Hi, hope you're doing well. In this class, what we're gonna do is work on some Joe basics. So remember, Joe is a 4-foot staff. We also have a 3-foot version of that we call Hambo. We have a 6-foot version, a full staff, which is called a Rokushaku bow. We're gonna work with this Joe. So let's do a couple of things first. Let's just move this around a little bit. See if you can get your shoulders a little bit loose and rock it back and forth this way. Keep those shoulders loose and healthy. All right. Okay, so we're going to do a few basic things with this. Let's start off with one of the basic postures. Some of the schools call this hira ichimonji. So weapon is cut in thirds. My knees are bent. I don't have a death grip on this. And we're going to start with a ski, which is a piercing thrusting strike. So as I move my foot, I'm going to take my right, move it into the center. As I move my left into the center, I'm going to get lined up here, elbow is down. So whole body, knees bending, spine twisting, very important for this strike. I'm going to reverse that. So I'm here, right foot comes in. See how my hands are sliding? We never want to have a death grip on this. We want to have a loose connection, loose but firm connection with the weapon. Slide in and strike and reverse that. So comes up, same time my right leg moves in. As I'm hitting, there's also something that you never really see. As this is making contact, see that end rotating? So when I hit a target, this bites in like that, just makes the strike that much more effective. So here and striking. Now from the side, I want you to make sure you're paying attention to how my knees and my spine are delivering the strike. Here, knees and spine. Knees and spine. And target is usually, eyes, throat, could be solar plexus for this ski. So let's do about 10 of these. So lift and strike. Come back. Lift and strike. Come back. I added a little something there, I'll point it out. So lift and strike. So working on being loosely connected to my weapon. I'm going to give this a little tug. See how I let it slide in my hands? So when I come back, give it a little tug to let it slide. It's very important that I learn how to move my hands freely on this weapon. So here I am, I'm going to lift and pierce and back. Lift and pierce and back. Lift and pierce and back. Now we'll smooth it out so it doesn't feel like two things. That's it. Two more. 1 and 2. Now notice that from this position, there are a whole bunch of things I could do. So let's change the strike. This time, same kind of movement, but I'm going to come over the top. So the difference there might be, I'm going to shift my left maybe. shift my left, come down over the top. So shift my left while I bring my right up. Now I'm dropping this down for a hit this way. Knees bending, spine twisting. Always remember backhand is responsible for most of that hit. Lead hand is mostly how I aim the weapon. So I'm not crashing down like this. So here I am, left leg moving and strike. You can feel how the sliding of that hand helps to create leveraged power in the hit. Here, left in, right up, and down. Left in, right up, and down. You can make that feel smooth and seamless. As you get better at it, I'm starting to put the weapon out in front of me. See, I'm already on my way to the target, as opposed to way back here. I've got a lot more distance to cover. So in this strike, I'm already on my way to the target. Already there, as opposed to getting ready to do a big whacking kind of a hit. So if you have something you could use for target practice, and you don't have to give it 100%. You're just looking for accuracy and smoothness of movement and correct technique. So if you have a partner and you have another weapon to work with or something you can hold out as a target, yeah, don't go crazy. I'm gonna hit that so hard. We want to avoid that kind of big winding up telegraphing. What's way more important is notice, I'm gonna go real slow, but notice how my weapon almost already at the target. Yeah, I'm not giving up any power. Not giving up any power. You could argue, yeah, this is a whole lot more power. Well, A, not necessarily so, and B, with a huge telegraph like this, chances that you're going to hit your target effectively are diminished. So I want to be sneaky. Let's see if I can make this smooth and fluid and seamless. Let's try the other side. Smooth and fluid and seamless. So maybe that's the difficult side for you. So right moves in as left comes up. That's the way I would begin. Oh, brand new at this, haven't done it before. Up and in. So I know I can maybe not come across in camera. It could look like I'm slamming down with this arm. What I'm doing is just guiding, because that's where my target is. But this is how I'm creating the hit, not this. So here, right comes in, left comes up, and strike. Right in, left up. Feel how when this slides down, that's body weight and gravity, not a crude kind of slamming this way. Okay, so I go, get some out of that. Now when I pump my knees, I get a lot more out of that. So there we are, back to basics, body weight and gravity. Let's do a few more. So right in, left up, and strike. Right in, left up, strike. Good, couple more. Good. Now this strike could be applied to a forearm. So if I were fighting against a sword, for example, we'll just use this Joe like it's a sword. So maybe I'm here and I'm fighting against a sword. So he's gonna cut me down as I get out of the way. Maybe I'm breaking that wrist as a way to begin disarming him as I get out of the way. So downward, kind of a strike. There are different names for this. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'm more interested in you getting good at the way we move to do this strike. So now let's do a few where we're just switching legs like I just did. So we'll shadow it first. So nice and fluid, pull back, fluid. Watch again how I'm pulling the weapon, nice and fluid. And now I am exaggerating the pull back here because that's what I'm working on now is, can I get this to where it slides easily through my hands? Play with that. Remember, elbows down, almost a little bit like shooting pool, but not exactly. Elbows down, fluid, unified movement, everything moving together at the same time. And good news, depending on your perspective, good leg work. All of this stuff is good leg work. It's a good way to get some cardio in and fortify your working knowledge of your Joe striking techniques. Okay, let's now reverse the strike. So we came over the top. Let's come from underneath. So we'll start the same way. My right is going to move in, right hand up. I'm going to lift as I hit. So right leg in, right hand up, lift. See that back hand pumping that strike. So right moves in, right hand up, lift and back. Right in, right up, lift and back. Right in, right up, lift and back. Let's do the left side. So left in, left up, lift. Left in, left up, lift. Left in, left up, lift. Make sure you're reaching out. So if you look at it from the side, reaching out to cover distance. And then you would adjust, depending on what's going on. So I might actually be stepping back. Just do a few that way. So now I'm falling back and lifting, falling back and lifting, falling back, falling back. Just turn it into this same drill. If I could practice moving forward with it, moving forward, hitting, moving back, hitting, forward, hitting, and backward, hitting. Let's do that one more time. Forward, hit, forward. Remember to pump that hand, forward, pump that hand, and backward. Pump that hand, pump your knees. And then if you can get a target to work on. And I remind you again, don't go for maximum power. The other thing I tell my students is just take your weapon and tap yourself somewhere with it. You'll find out how much power you don't need, okay? So we're more interested in seamless, fluid movement and good technique. And if you have a partner, you could have your partner slowly move the target in. So you're practicing falling back and then moving the target out. So you're practicing falling in. And back. And forward. Yeah. So fluid and seamless, that's what we're looking for. Fluid and seamless. So if you notice the last one, I combined the two. So let's do that, shadow moving first. So now I'm gonna go over and under, under and over, over and under, under and over, over and under. So again, what we're looking for is, now I've got very loose connection with the weapon, but firm. It's a firm connection. So my weapon now becomes part of me. So I remember as a young martial artist being told, you've got to get to where you're in control of the weapon and the weapon is not in control of you. The catch-22 there is, you don't really get what that means until you get there. Once you get there and you realize, oh, this thing is just an extension of me, that's when, oh, now I know what that means. In the beginning, there's so much thinking going on, and there's the natural tendency to, want to grip this thing too tightly. So just moving around freely with your weapon, once you have basic handle on the movement, that's good for you to do. Just move around with this thing. Start to mix it up, mix it up. So, and you can, like I said, you can keep that up for 10 minutes, you get a good little cardio workout. Okay, let's take that same concept and we'll do sideways hits. So I'm here, let's go left foot moving in and strike out horizontally to the side. Just go right into reversing from one side to the other. Loose, but connected to my weapon. Really can't do this with a death grip. Weapon has to slide freely through your hand. Look at this from a side angle. And the same thing, you could do this moving forward, do this moving back. And then there are other subtleties where maybe I don't necessarily want to come all the way around the side because I might get hung up in something over there. So I bring this up a little bit. See how that brings the intended striking end down. And now I can hook the hip rather than coming all the way around out to the side. I can hook, can do what looks like that vertical underneath, and then by using my back hand, I can hook it around to the side. And then if you can set up a little target, again, you could, I don't know if I want you beating up a tree, but you could find something if you don't have a partner. And like I said, don't go to town. You don't have to knock this thing in the next week. I'm just looking at getting fluid, unified movement. You can practice long range. Oh, I've got to reach out for this. Short range. Oh, I'm in close. I'm in close. There's just all kinds of variations that you can use While I'm thinking about it, one of the things that I see when we're going long range is people will leave this hand down here. So remember, we need to let that slide through your hands as you hit. When I see a student doing this, I know that they're actually not doing correct technique. They're trying to use the lead hand for the strike as opposed to the rear hand. If you want to feel a little better about your power, just pump your knees. Pump your knees. Because this is leverage, it's physics we're relying on. The further my hand gets down here, the more leverage I have. My hand is out here, the less leverage I have. So again, important that my hands slide freely on the weapon. So there are some striking basics for you. We have another one I want to do. All right, this is one of my favorite strikes because it's unexpected, it's unique. So I'm lifting. My intended striking edge will be the left. I'm going to lift with the left and then re-grip with my left hand and bring this around for a hit. So I'm going to lift with my left, re-grab with my left, and bring that around. Remember, I'm pulling with the rear hand. I'm not slamming with the lead hand. So lift and pull. Lift and pull. Maybe make it big right now. So right now, if I'm new at this, I'm not going to worry too much about how far back that's going. As I get better at it, now I have to look at, what we call natural speed. Now I want this all the way on the way to the target rather than it going way back here to get way over there. So as you get better, just think about lifting this out in front of you as you intercept and clip. Now, sometimes this is called yokelmang. Yokelmang means side of the head, but don't get caught up in that because the head may not be the target. Maybe I'm catching an ankle with this. So there are different, with a longbow, there are different kind of ankle strikes called ashibarai. Some schools call it that. But the names, one of my favorite teachers from Japan used to say the names are not important. The names can get you in trouble. And I believe that. I mean, sometimes the names are useful, but more often they end up getting you to try to stuff something into a little confined box. And that's the opposite of what we want. So I might be lifting this to hit the side of the head. I might be lifting this to catch a knee or an ankle. I might be catching an elbow, catching a wrist. So as you see now, with that rear hand, wow, I can do all kinds of things. So looks like I'm gonna go for your knee and then I hook it, bang, and I take a wrist or an arm or something. So main thing is fluid, seamless movement. I'm connected to my weapon. So I'm in control of the weapon is not controlling me. So fluid, relaxed kind of movement, that's what we're after. And then you just start playing. Start playing with these different strikes. There's a little turn in there. This is, as much as anything, just dexterity, connectedness, and fluidity training. It's possible. It's possible that in the middle of a thing, I might hit here, turn that all around and hit over here. Possible, I think less probable. more direct, more direct. I might knock something and then turn that into a ski. I might ski and then come down on the top. Looks like I'm going for a leg, end up hitting you in the head. This is where you have fun and you just get creative. Just make sure that your basics are real good, that you're not bending over, that you've, over time you've developed the ability to have everything come from your hara as opposed to up here, upper body, or just my arms. So you just start playing with this weapon. Just play around. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. When I was doing this and getting good at it, trying to figure out how to be loose, my background was Okinawan, where, with a longbow, we would do stuff like this, completely different way to move. So I remember this idea of pulling that back, and a couple of times, whoop, the weapon's way back there on the floor because I'm new at it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's okay. And then there are all kinds of other things that we can do with it. I do want to cover something called Ukemi. So Ukemi means receiving, and so Ukemi is a way for me to receive a hit. So we want to talk about what that means. If let's say somebody's attacking me with a sword, I know you'll see this in the movies, but I don't want to do these pugil stick kind of blocks. So I always say tai sabaki first. So if he's cutting me here, good direction for me to go would be over here. So what I'm going to do is, as I move out of the way, I'm going to put this in a position where that weapon is going to skitter off to the side. So he's coming to get me. I'm out of the way. I'm backing this up with my arm. So there are a lot of details, a lot of subtle details, as always is the case. So as I'm moving, this is the way I think about it. I'm creating a hole for my head to pass through. So creating a hole for my head to pass through. Let's get that part first. So I've seen students try to do this, where they clearly have in mind that they're blocking. So I always say, no, I'm hiding, I'm not blocking. So I'm hiding and escaping. That changes just by changing that in your mind. It changes the way your body moves. So, I've got to block this. I think I have to be rigid and strong. No, I'm escaping. I'm hiding. No, I've got to be sneaky and smooth. That's what we want. That's what we want. So, creating that hole, and you know what? It's even better if I miss completely. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So get it out of your head that I have to make some kind of blocking contact with this incoming weapon. I'm hiding over here. So the second part that I want you to look at is how I'm rolling this shoulder, my left shoulder forward, so that this is tucked against my bone and muscle structure, so that I'm not doing something like this. Depending, if it isn't a bladed weapon, sometimes I will do that on the forearm. But right now, we want to get to where that's just kind of seated right back there. My head is forward. Again, watch the subtle difference. I'm not trying to block. I'm trying to hide and escape. So I'm not trying to lock up and block. Now I'm trying to create this little safe space passage, this hole, so to speak, and I'm going to pass through that hole and keep moving. And then off of there can come a counter strike, various forms of counter strikes. So let's look at that. So he's coming to get me. I'm close in. I can catch him right with the end of this. There are ways for me to lock up his weapon, take his weapon from him. So lots of things we can do there. Let's work on this Ukemi. here, and just by swinging around, if I shadow it, here, watch my left leg as that swings around, brings this end of the weapon to bear. So, hiding and striking. And again, this sharp edge banging into your, right above your eyebrow or cheek, very uncomfortable. Not gonna end it, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm escaping the initial attack and putting myself in a position to end it. I'm hiding and coming around. Hiding, coming around. So here's another option. Maybe I go out pretty wide. And now come around with the other end of the weapon. So here I'm going out wide. Reach up and grab. Hitting here. Yeah, you can experiment with target. Take it out of the leg. Keep coming around. Take it out of the weapon. Hiding and hitting. Hiding and hitting. Don't forget to pull with the backhand. This one is easy to revert into kind of clubbing with this one. Easy to think you're doing a baseball bat kind of thing. Try to avoid that. So because he can cut pretty quickly. Yeah. If I'm moving correctly, I have a very good chance of beating him. If I'm taking a club, probably won't make it. So again, that is Ukemi, and we did a couple, there are more, but couple of follow-up strike options. So if you've been doing all this and a bunch of repetitions, hey, good leg workout. Good leg workout, and if you've been dancing around fluidly with your weapon, pretty good cardio workout as well. So we'll, as always, I like to finish our training up with a nice meditation. Let's finish our workout with a little bit of a meditation. So again, let's pay attention to our posture first. I'm sitting on this heavy bag. I have a knee issue that doesn't allow me, I can't get anywhere close to a full lotus. The guideline is that your hips are level with or higher than your knees. So, or you could say your knees are level with or lower than your hips. So again, hips level with or above the knees. So we want to avoid something that looks like this because it causes your low back to fight against you and it's distracting. So you figure out what works best for you. You can try a couple of pillows if you're at home. And of course you can always just sit in a Western chair, just keeping your back straight. Next thing we're looking at is shoulder blades are back and down slightly. Not really fighting myself on this, just very, very slightly. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but right now I'm a little rolled forward. So I'm just gonna pull those back very, very slightly. And then I'm going to lift my head by stretching the back of my neck, like somebody's pulling straight up on a string attached to the crown of my head. My chin will look down just slightly. So if my eyes are open, somewhere around 5 feet in front of me. Hands, make sure your elbows are resting on your rib cage. I know you see photographs that look like this all the time, but if you do that, you'll notice it pulls your shoulders forward, and then you get that issue of not only shoulders rolled forward, but lower back may be working against you. So elbows against your rib cage. I do encourage you just to it's called closing a circuit, just thumb and index finger together here. I typically will do this, so that's another way to close this circuit, is thumbs together, just lay one hand inside the other. And we'll go ahead and close our eyes, and we'll start with some breath work. So want to do all through my mouth. Going to inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 7. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and exhale for a count of 8. So inhale everything you got. And when you do that inhale, we're going to start from your lower belly. This is something we need to train ourselves to do. So my stomach sticks out. And work up into my upper lungs. For the hold, the 7-second hold, I want to try to could even wiggle a little bit. I want to let my body relax around the breath, around my filled up lungs as much as possible. When I exhale, I want to try to drag the exhale out, and when I get to 7 or 8, I'm pushing, lower belly is squeezing, there's nothing there. I'm pushing the last vestiges of stale air out of there, and then through my mouth again. And hold for 7. And exhale. So you've got the pattern. Let's do 3 rounds together. So inhale 4, hold for 7, exhale 8. Good. Now just focus all your awareness on the tips of your nostrils. Breathe through your nose a little bit, just to get a little sensation there. Find that sensation as you breathe normally and naturally now, and let your mind focus only on that sensation of air passing through your nostrils. Mind is going to fight you on this, we know that. Remember, success is when I catch my mind carrying me away and I gently reestablish that single pointed focus. Let's see if we can go about a minute. Very good. I want you to stay there. Now we're going to add a component. I want you to create just a little bit of a smile on your face. Try to feel the energy of that smile through your whole body. Don't get too literal about that. Just enjoy it. The idea is to get to where I just enjoy this process. I enjoy having my mind freed up, nowhere to be, nobody to answer to, nothing to figure out right now. Let's go for another minute and see if we can have that just a little bit of a smile on your face. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Let's take a slow, deep breath. Hold it for a moment. Blow it out. One more time. Way down, lower belly first. Hold it just for a moment. Let this one just fall away and ease your eyes open. Man, that feels good, doesn't it? It's great. So by all means, don't stop now. If you have the time and you're inclined, go back into meditation. I also like to say that, you know, a minute every now and then during the day makes a huge difference. So we already know all of the scientific evidence is in that meditation is good for us in many, many ways. So take your time, enjoy it. You gotta take your wild, mad monkey mind that is just all over the place every day and just slow it down. Just slow it down. Find some clean, clear, empty space just to bring the waters down a little less choppy, a little more level. Helps us to be centered and relaxed. Good news is it's free. You can do it anytime that you want. So great class. We'll see you next time.